The crisp echo of her stilettos striking the polished marble announced her tardy entrance to the restaurant, a full 5 hours late. I lingered at the table, idly twirling the dregs of my second bottle of wine, pretending not to notice the waiter's pitying glances or the hushed sympathy from nearby patrons. The candle before me had burned down to a mere stump. The cake, presented with flourish hours earlier, had slumped into a drooping testament to my endurance. Then she appeared, my wife, accompanied by 2 friends, their laughter fizzing with the lightness of champagne. "Look at that," she declared, her voice cutting through the restaurant's murmur. I knew he'd still be here, sitting faithfully like some forlorn puppy. Their giggles, cold and cutting, reverberated around us. I offered a faint smile, lifted my glass in a wordless salute, and in that instant, I knew the battle was already mine. Our story hadn't always unfolded this way. Once, her gaze held mine as if no other soul mattered. In the quiet of night, she murmured promises of forever. We crafted a life together, dreamed of children, of a future intertwined and unbreakable. For years, I trusted in our connection, in her devotion. But love doesn't crumble in one moment. It unravels gradually, masked by the sheen of her perfume and flimsy excuses. Late nights at work became her routine. Her phone transformed into a fortress, fiercely protected. I was no longer her partner, but a vestige she'd outgrown. I saw it all. I always did. That evening, as her companions ordered drinks on my tab and tossed subtle barbs between sips, I mentally revisited the past year. Every lie, every half-hearted justification, every hollow apology, the pain once raw and searing, had hardened into something keener, more calculated, a steely determination. They viewed me as weak, a man too spineless to leave, tethered by his own devotion. They mistook my patience for frailty, my quiet for surrender. They had no clue who they were mocking. My plan formed in silence. No dramatic outbursts, no confrontations. Those only give your opponent time to regroup. Instead, I observed, collected, bided my time. Her phone was an easy mark. Her arrogance made her sloppy. One evening, while the shower droned, I synced her messages to my laptop. The truth poured forth. Hotel receipts, whispered texts to a man named Eric, photos she thought she'd deleted. The betrayal no longer stung. It wasn't personal anymore. It was ammunition, a tool. Then came the finances. I'd always managed our money. She never bothered with the details, too caught up in her indulgences. With meticulous care, I siphoned funds, created secret reserves, transferred assets into my name alone. If she ever looked, she'd find only traces and misdirection. The will followed, updated, notarized, secured. Every fallback she assumed she had, life insurance, the house, our savings, slipped quietly into my hands. At night, she still taunted me, unaware of the ground shifting beneath her. She believed herself invincible. I let her think so. The decisive moment arrived on my birthday, when she sauntered out of the restaurant with her friends, convinced she'd left me humiliated. She'd actually sparked the day of my liberation. I left the bill unpaid. Earlier, I discreetly arranged with the manager to book the reservation and charges under her name, her card. Watching her expression twist as the waiter presented the tab. 5 hours of wine, appetizers, and her friend's extravagance was the first flicker of triumph. She paid, her fury barely contained, while I strolled home under the city's twinkling lights, feeling unburdened for the first time in years. The true blow came later. Divorce papers, meticulously timed and packed with evidence of her infidelity, arrived at her workplace, where colleagues she'd bragged to about our perfect marriage watched her carefully curated facade shatter. Eric, the man she envisioned as her future, received his own dossier, photos, texts, exact timestamps. His wife got hers too. I ensured it. No shouting, no violence. My vengeance was surgical. Public enough to disgrace, legal enough to hold firm, private enough to wound her pride deeply. This morning, my phone vibrated relentlessly. 98 missed calls, her name pulsing like a warning flare. She knows now. The drained accounts, the house beyond her reach, Eric's wife casting him out, her career wobbling as gossip spreads like sparks. I didn't pick up. I poured coffee, sat by the window, and let the quiet envelop me. Do I feel remorse? Not for a second. Love was supposed to be a sacred pact, a mutual vow. She turned it into a performance, expecting me to applaud while she played for others. She forgot I was the bedrock she stood on, there only as long as I chose to stay. She saw me as a pathetic dog, lingering at that table. Instead, I became the wolf, slipping away, leaving her amid the ruins she created. I imagine her now, pacing, dialing desperately, her voice cracking with fear. Her friends, who once mocked me, now dodge her calls, unwilling to be dragged into her collapse. Eric begging his wife, while my wife realizes she was never the prize, only a passing distraction. I smile, not out of spite but from clarity. Revenge isn't reckless. It's precision, timing, mastery. It's holding your silence until it becomes the most deafening weapon in the room. When I entered that restaurant on my birthday, I was still her husband. When I left, I was something greater, free, untouchable, and done waiting.